Where are we headed? We're headed for a dark future unless we wake up. And it doesn't take all of us to wake up. You know, a good 20% of America really awake and aware and standing up and refusing to sit down will change the world. It will, 20%. How do we heal ourselves? What's coming? How do we avoid the mistakes that have been made throughout history and repeated over and over and over again? I did a special last Wednesday, and I can't tell you how many people talked about it coming up to me. It's a speech that I gave, and I had a feeling, and I've never really rewatched the speech, but when I walked off, I thought, that's an important speech. And so we made it into the special last Wednesday. And so many people came up to me and were talking to me about that was so important. I understand things differently now. You can find it on YouTube or on Blaze TV. But let me just read some of the reviews. I'm an atheist, but I got to say that speech sent shivers down my spine and put tears in my eyes. I've tried speaking to God. Who knows if it's true or not? But maybe I should try harder. Maybe you're right. Maybe there is a God, and maybe all I need to do is open my heart a little bit more. Thank you, Glenn Beck. Glenn, you have just changed my life. I listen with tears in my eyes, knowing how angry and lost I am today. And I need to get back to Christ himself. Listening to you tell how God showed you the path and how you took it on like a steward of men was so profound that I felt my mindset switch in that moment. Thank you. Today begins a new direction for me and begins my journey back to my Lord and Savior. God bless you. Thank you. It is something that you really need to see. It's Glenn's most powerful speech. You can find it on my YouTube channel. Now, tomorrow is the release of Dark Future. And the reason why that speech was so important, the reason why I did it a few months ago, and we played it right before this Dark Future comes out, is because it can be a little daunting. It is a dark future. And it is, it's going to be tough for all of us to navigate. And there are good ways to navigate it and bad ways, ways that will only feed in to the system. So if you thought the Great Reset was a lot to process and fight, hang on, because that was the beginning. The Great Reset was the beginning, and hopefully you know about it. If you don't, you can watch my specials on it, or you can read my last book on the Great Reset. But this one is on the Great Narrative, this book, and it is the longest book I've ever written. I think it's 500 and some pages. And it is all about the Great Narrative. It's called Dark Future. And what the Great Narrative is harnessing advanced technologies from artificial intelligence to robotics, and it all is working to shift the power structure into a new world order. It is a campaign to transform the global economy, rewrite all of the social contracts in Western nations. And it was a call to action that was launched in 2021 by the World Economic Forum, the same people responsible for the Great Reset. Now, this has allies in governments all over the West, banking, industry, and unlike the Great Reset, the focus of the Great Narrative is focused on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, a name given to the emerging era of technological innovation. And we touch on this in the special that is coming on Wednesday. So important that you see it. The Fourth Industrial Revolution is happening right now. And if you've ever listened to me say, I mean, it's so spooky. Stu, maybe you could comment on this. It is so spooky to see the things that I thought would happen back in the 1990s, and they're all happening right now. And it's spooky because unless we wake up to them, you won't be able to stop it. You know, I've been saying for years, all of the changes made from when we had fire to the moment we had electricity and we were living in cities with refrigerators, all of that will happen in a 10-year period. Well, I was wrong. The latest is from 1760, the first industrial revolution. This is according to the World Economic Forum. The first transformation, the revolution, started in 1760. Then we went through the second one and the third one, and we're now at the fourth. So everything that happened between 1760 and 2020 is going to happen. That much of a technological revolution is going to happen between 2020 and 2035. That should wake you and shake you to the core. Think of being somebody who was living in colonial times and you transport them, and yes, it takes 15 years to get here, but in that 15 years, do you think they could handle that?
I mean, no. Look at the way we're handling it. People who are in the modern day. We've had, what, 15 years to deal with cell phones? I'm talking about, smartphones. How are we dealing with that? How are we dealing with things that are happening at a much, much slower pace than what you're talking about? I mean, if that comes to pass, we have no capability of understanding the consequences of these changes.
Stu, you remember me saying these crazy things back in the 90s. Remember? Mm-hmm. Saying all these crazy things in the 90s, and they were crazy, and it was kind of like, it was fun at the time to tell you, yeah, I think this is going to happen, and and having a decent idea, because I was self-educated on the subject of futurism, but not really knowing, and now to see them happen is insanity, just insanity. There is something new out that you should be well aware of. In 2021, we talk about this in the book. In 2021, the United Nations began building a new platform for the promotion of the Sustainable Development Goals called Our Common Agenda. Now, I want to see if you think this is really our common agenda. It is an expansion of Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. If you don't know what those are, you really have some catching up to do, because these are not conspiracy theories, and and President Biden has just signed on for part of this, and we are waiting for him to sign on for all of it. The UN has a roadmap. Their words, not mine. And they're going to use it to implement our common agenda. And here's how it works. At the Summit for the Future, which is happening next September, just a couple of months away, and 2 months before the 2024 presidential election, they are putting together the Pact for the Future. So what is our common agenda? Well, let me give you the 12 commitments. And stop me, Stu, if you have a problem with any of these.
Okay.
Leave no one behind. A new social contract, basic income programs, universal health care, and digital inclusivity.
I can stop you now. There's several problems I have already, but you haven't even really started yet, have you?
No. 2, protect our planet. This is a global Green New Deal, plus other massive environmental programs. 3, what would the United Nations be if they couldn't do this? Promote peace and prevent conflicts. 4, abide by international law and ensure justice, the new vision for the rule of law, and opening access to all government services to illegal immigrants. 5, place women and girls at the center, includes mandatory gender parity requirements, including thorough quotas and special measures. 6, build trust, which is a global code of conduct to crack down on misinformation on the internet including social media. This is our common agenda from the UN. 7, improve digital cooperation with accountability criteria for discrimination and misleading information, which will end free speech on the internet. 8, upgrade the United Nations initiates a United Nations 2.0 program that would refocus the UN on data, strategic foresight, and behavioral science. Oh, that sounds. 9, ensure sustainable finance. This is ESG and other Great Reset initiatives. 10, boost partnerships. Also Great Reset related, includes a program to have the United Nations work directly with local and regional governments around the world, including America, to implement our common agenda. 11, listen to and work with the youth. Develops, among other things, new Futures Lab, new UN Youth Office, and includes a transforming education program. And 12, be prepared. A stronger World Health Organization, universal health care, and most importantly, this is what Joe Biden just signed on for, the Emergency Platform Initiative. That's great. So that's what they are. What do you think, Stu? Our common agenda?
Oh, it's it's very interesting because all of these seem to be the wish list of these lunatics and what they've been pushing over the past couple of years anyway. They always seem to kind of come into that exact same bucket, right? It's less control for you. It's more control for them. It is, something that, each one of those is another massive problem that we either can't afford, or if we could afford it, it would destroy the fabric of all civilization.
Yeah.
You couldn't design it worse.
Well, not necessarily. They're going to have new technologies like quantum computing and AI to be able to do behavioral science on us. So they'll know what we're thinking, and they'll know what's best for us.
Yeah, I mean, I could be charitable here. There are some things in there that I think could be beneficial. For example, you said putting women and girls at the center of everything, and as they're functioning and trying to figure out diversity.
Sure.
In theory, at least they would have to define a woman in this circumstance. So there could be some positives that come out of this.
Right. I just have a feeling it's not going to go the way of the old common agenda on defining women. But maybe that's just me. Great Reset is the launch point to build the great narrative, which is our new dark future. I'll show you on Wednesday night what it's all about and how we have to take a stand right now. You can catch the preview Wednesday night on Blaze TV and my YouTube channel. I don't know how long YouTube will let it stay up because we dare to mention the Great Reset, which is a trip. I mean, I named my last book The Great Reset, and YouTube made that a demonetization phrase. So everything pretty much I've done over in the last 2 years on the Great Reset, haven't been able to make any profit on it. I hope you watched it. And we don't know if this is going to be either demonetized or canceled. We don't know. You could become a subscriber and help us tell these stories at blazetv.com/Glenn. Use the promo code will not be censored and get $30 off your annual subscription. Dark Future available at bookstores and everywhere tomorrow all over the country.